one throws a sandwich. This is just another day. When Donald Trump announced his plan to take over DC's police force and mobilize the National Guard, we all knew it was going to be terrible. I just don't think any of us thought it would be this bad.
DC officials say one man has been charged with a felony assault after he hurled a Subway sandwich at a border agent. Watch.
Why? You Mother. Oh! Oh! Oh!
To be fair, our sandwich artist could afford to be just a tad less fascist when it comes to sparing an extra slice or two of that white triangle cheese. But DC is a polarized town, and this assailant was not without his defenders.
He didn't get hurt. There is no reason to get a felony because, so what, he's wearing a uniform. He's supposed to be a hero protector.
Well, looks like the hero protector became the hero receiver.
Epic sandwich pun.
Look, I'm not sure why I have to say this, but I will anyway. It is wrong to throw a sandwich at federal agents, for multiple reasons. Yes, it's battery, but it's also nutritionally unwise. If your plan is to hurl your meal at law enforcement and then run away, you're not going to have the proper caloric intake one needs to make it very far. I mean, sure, if you'd made it a combo meal, I could see throwing the 20-ounce fountain drink or even one of those 2 cookies they generously give you, considering those are empty calories, and frankly, you'd be better off with a bottle of water and some carrot sticks anyway. But again, don't throw your sandwiches at law enforcement. Not that Subway hasn't been totally preparing for this whole sandwich as weapon trend for quite some time.
This morning, Subway facing scrutiny in a new proposed class action lawsuit. The plaintiff, Anna Tollison, accusing the restaurant chain of grossly misleading customers after she bought a steak and cheese sandwich that the suit says contained 200% less meat than the heroes depicted in Subway ads.
Unconscionable. Giving Americans a steak and cheese with practically no steak and cheese? It's like giving our patriotic soldiers guns, but no bullets. Also, I have it on good authority that selling someone a steak and cheese without the steak and cheese is how the Philly fanatic got radicalized. Anyway, I'm sure this was just one isolated incident by some angry drunk guy in D.C., and the administration clearly has bigger fish to fry.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says that the suspect was actually a DOJ employee and has been promptly fired.
Or not. I gotta say, it is pretty wild that he worked for the DOJ. But frankly, he needed to lose his job because it was of the utmost importance that they would make room for this guy.
The Justice Department has hired as a senior advisor someone who faced multiple criminal charges due to his presence at the January 6th Capitol riot. His name is Jared Wise. You can see him in the blue jacket on the left side of your screen yelling at police officers. He's heard in this video calling law enforcement present there, defending the Capitol, Nazis, and yelling, "Kill them." Not just once, but repeatedly. Wise pleaded not guilty, but was never put on trial due to President Trump's pardon.
So let that be a lesson to anyone who insinuates that a member of our law enforcement is a fascist. If you do it without a sandwich, there may just be a plum job waiting for you on the other side. Well, moving on to...
And then he took a Subway sandwich about this big and took it and threw it at the officer. He thought it was funny. Well, he doesn't think it's funny today because we charged him with a felony, assault on a police officer. And we're going to back the police to the hilt. So there, stick your Subway sandwich somewhere else.
Is that somewhere else his cheeks? Because I think that's where your surgeon shoved your Subway sandwich. What became incredibly evident today is that conservatives have finally found their evil incarnate in this hurler of hoagies. He's a man who embodies all that is wrong with the liberal left, which is why people like Jeanine Pirro aren't going to stand for it.
She's taking this very seriously and saying it's not just about the crime and the chaos being reined in, but about the agents that have been put out there on the street to do their work, not being taken advantage of, not being assaulted and violently assaulted, and saying that they're going to stand up to that as well.
That's right. Under this administration, there is no place for violent assaults on law enforcement. Fine, one place, but they'd prefer to not talk about it.
It is very rich to say we are going to charge the sandwich thrower with a felony. When I was there on January 6th, and all of those people that assaulted police officers got pardoned. Not just the nonviolent ones, not just the ones that went into the Capitol. Everyone, including the ones that went after police officers, got pardoned. So don't tell me we care, that this administration cares about protecting police officers when they did not care about those on January 6th.
Respectfully, can we just stay
But they got pardoned. No, those were police officers, Emily, and they got pardoned.
I want to talk about D.C. for a second.
But that was in D.C.
Yeah, respectfully, can we just stick to the disrespect inflicted on one officer with a sandwich rather than just focusing on the 140 that were disrespected with actual weaponry? Yep, conservatives are totally anti-crime, and one of the biggest crimes they see is the crime of bringing up one specific moment from our past.
You think it's because Trump cares about crime in D.C., really? Because I remember Donald Trump on January the 6th, 2021, not giving a crap about crime in D.C.
Now we're January 6th. Okay, Mehdi, come on. Talking about completely different things.
You actually care about crime, then.
You cannot talk about this. There's completely different things going on.
Yeah, these are totally different things, because one of these things was endorsed and excused by our current president, which really makes statements like this from today a little bit odd to hear.
Well, we're going to be getting the criminals the hell out of here. We don't want the criminals in Washington, D.C.
Well, not the 1,600 patriots I pardoned. I mean the real criminals who just throw bread and deli meat on our very fine officers. As Trump has always said, Proud Boys good, Po Boys bad.
Epic sandwich pun.
Can we please dispense with this idea that Trump, the administration, or any conservatives are even remotely consistent on crime? They want to ignore January 6th like Donald Trump ignores his own son. Anytime you bring up the attack on our Capitol, conservatives roll their eyes and dismiss you for relitigating the past. Because if there's one thing the MAGA movement hates more than anything, it's getting mired in issues of yesteryear.
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers.
See? Relitigating a 5-year-old insurrection is off the table because the table has to be clear for them to relitigate a 10-year-old scandal about Hillary's emails. And that's how it goes. Trump has no patience for people bringing up the past unless it's the stuff he wants to discuss.
It's incredible what we're finding. Absolute proof of guilt. And we'll see what happens. But Clapper and Comey and that whole group of criminals.
I think for legal reasons, you have to say they could be criminals, whereas you are literally a whole criminal. Small distinction. Like how in Canada, the chicken at Subway was found to be only 50% chicken. Trump could really use an asterisk permanently attached to his hats. And again, if Trump and Republicans want to live in the now so badly, why do we keep harping on this part of the past instead of everyone's past?
While the Democrats have tried to make this Epstein thing about anything but, the fact that Democrat billionaires and Democrat political leaders went to Epstein Island all the time, who knows what they did, but it's totally reasonable to ask these questions. We know that Clinton, or allegedly he went to the island 26 times, 28 times, totally appropriate for Comer to be asking what was going on at that island.
I agree, but I also think it's worth looking into what someone else was up to back then. Look, Donald Trump and his fellow conservatives don't want to talk about the past and despise violence against our law enforcement officers unless it helps keep them in power. And that's the truth, any way you slice it.
Epic sandwich pun.
Sorry. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks.